What's up, guys? Andrew here, and today we're going to take a ride on the bullet train. So I just got done watching 2022's Bullet Train. Came out back in August, directed by David Leitch. And I have to say, right up front, this is one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. Dare I say, it might be at the top of the list. Of course, it stars Brad Pitt. He is this operative named Ladybug. He's in Tokyo, and he's got an operator in his ear talking to him, kind of helping him sort out his issues that he has. He's very zen, very about karma and good vibes. Well, it turns out Brad Pitt's character, Ladybug, is nicknamed that because of a ladybug is, you find out later in the film, a bearer of bad luck, and everything that happens to him, even though he is lucky in some scenes, he has some of the worst luck in the world. There's a hilarious scene early in the movie where a bellboy was going to commit suicide by jumping off like the third or fourth story of this building and lands on his car, and you just need to see it. So he gets on this bullet train, and his one objective is to get this silver briefcase with a train sticker on the handle. So Ladybug gets on this bullet train and finds this briefcase easy enough, and it should be an easy job, right? Just on off. The train stops at every station for a minute, the doors open, and then they close again. But as you find out, there's at least four other operatives, four other agents on this car, wanting the same thing. Two of which are brothers. They call them the twins. Got a black English guy and a white English guy who go by the name of Lemon and Tangerine. And they, along with Brad Pitt, just make this movie for me. Their banter back and forth. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Tangerine, and he's acted before. He's been in, most notably, probably Godzilla 2014, which is not a good movie, and you won't see me reviewing that here, hopefully. But I can see him as a leading man in like a smaller franchise. He does a really good job here, and him and his brother kind of remind me of Vincent and Jules from Pulp Fiction. How they argue over the most trivial things, and they got that dynamic, white guy, black guy, and it's just, those characters are great. Of course, there's a train sticker on this briefcase because the character of Lemon, everything he does, he relates back to Thomas the Tank Engine, and so like he keeps telling such and such, hey, you're a diesel because diesels do this. It's really funny. We get more operatives in this movie as things go along. You get this whole little innocent schoolgirl played by Joey Hart. Her name is the Prince, and she's definitely got ulterior motives. You've got the character of the Wolf played by Bad Bunny who gets on, and he's seeking revenge for Brad Pitt's character because he was at his wedding where all of his family was killed, and he thinks that Ladybug had something to do with it, and they get in this fight, and it's hilarious. You see Ladybug's bad luck. He kills him. Everything he does is accidental. Like, anybody in this movie who he kills on accident, and the way Brad Pitt plays it off is really funny. As a matter of fact, we were watching this movie, and my wife, we were talking about it, and I was talking about how much I liked his performance, and she did too, which was interesting because she's never liked him in anything else besides this. Just thought he was kind of a pretty boy who couldn't act, and which I don't agree with at all. But I think this movie might have changed her mind on Mr. Pitt. As the movie moves along, more operatives become involved. We find out they've all been contracted by this man known as the White Death. He's a Russian gang lord who's came up through the Japanese mafia, and he pretty much runs things. And all their paths intertwine on this bullet train. Kind of reminds me of a Tarantino movie in a way. The way, all these separate stories are being told, and how they all come together in the same place. There's some excellent cameos in this movie. David Leitch also directed Deadpool 2, which starred Ryan Reynolds. And of course, Brad Pitt made a cameo in it as the Invisible Man for X-Force, and that was hilarious. This cameo is hilarious too. There's a couple other cameos in this movie, but I won't spoil those for you. This movie has just the right amount of action and humor for me, for what I'm looking for in a modern day action movie. It's also got, it's funny, there's some flashbacks, like Lemon and Tangerine are arguing at one point about how many people they killed on this mission. One saying 16, one saying 17, so they actually go back, and there's a death count on the screen as each person dies. It's really funny. There's a scene with Bad Bunny's character, the Wolf, where he was going to get married at this wedding, and everybody got poisoned, and it's kind of funny as they're like, everybody's been poisoned, so they're vomiting this wine and bleeding out of their eyes. It's darkly funny. There's so many flashbacks in this movie that it's funny that it becomes self-aware of how many flashbacks there are. There's this product placement part with this Fiji bottle of water that plays a part in the plot, and at one point the bottle of water has a flashback. As ludicrous as that sounds. There are a couple of things I didn't like. Mainly, there toward the end, it suffers from CGI overload a little bit. The bullet train, of course, derails and wrecks, and there's probably no real good way to do a bullet train derailment. I guess you could use models. I don't know how well that would turn out this day and time, where everybody's more in tune to CG. Even though it does look like artwork, it's actually funny as Brad Pitt's character, Ladybug, is flying through each cart, and at one point this coffee pot comes and hits him in the face in slow motion. The colors of the film are really good as well. They're going from Tokyo to Kyoto to Nagoya in Japan, and so it's got those really, it's kind of dark, but yet it's got those bright neons that really pop on the screen. So if I was to give Bullet Train a ranking, of the 7 or 8 films I've reviewed on this channel to this point, this has been my favorite one. It's fresh in my mind, so that might not be fair, but I also think that 2 or 3 years from now, I'm going to look so fondly back on this movie that if I was to give it an 8.1, let's go 8.2, let's go 8.25, 8.2 for Bullet Train. I think it's fun. I think it's definitely got plenty of action. It's funny, lots of character development. I love how the stories intertwine together. Other than a little bit of CG that's, it's really good. So I've got no problem giving this movie an 8.25, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So far, and we're in December of 2022 now, it's my favorite movie of the year. Probably going to stay that way. I rank Prey pretty high. This, to me, I had more fun with than Prey. So I had a good time with this movie. Hope you enjoyed the review. Until next time, this is Drew. See you down the line.